joining us today. First thing I should say is this session is being recorded, so if your camera's on, you may well appear on the recording. We're very happy for that. It's great to see your faces. Just want to make sure that you're aware of that. I'm Helen Anthony. I'm the Executive Officer for the Family Mediation Council. This week is Family Mediation Week, and we are hosting a series of seminars to try and introduce you to family mediation. I'm very pleased today we have Lucy Osafo with us. She is a Family Mediation Council accredited mediator. She's also a practicing family law solicitor, and she has worked in court proceedings with social workers. We also have Sally Stokes here today. Sally's an accredited family mediator. She's also an independent qualified social worker. So they are well qualified to talk to you today about mediation as social workers. I'm going to hand over very shortly to Lucy. Before I do so, we're going to have a presentation. Throughout the presentation, if questions occur to you, do put them in the chat. We'll address those at the end of the presentation, and then we'll open it up if you want to have a discussion with Lucy and Sally as well, any other questions that might arise. So Lucy, I'm about to share my screen and then it'll be over to you.
Thank you, Helen. Hi, I'm Lucy. Thank you so much for joining myself and Sally today. We're going to go through a presentation with you, but as Helen mentioned, there'll be an opportunity for you to ask us any questions. So first of all, what is family mediation? As this screen shows, it's a process in which those involved in family relationship breakdown or change appoint an impartial third person, a mediator, to assist them to communicate better with one another and to reach their own agreed and informed decisions. The key thing about family mediation is that the mediator is there to assist the families to work together and to assist parents, perhaps who have separated, in trying to work together and to put forward the children's best interests. As mediators, we are completely impartial, and we're not leading or acting for either of the parties. We're there to assist the parties to work together. Sally.
Thank you. So when can mediation help? So following separation or divorce, and that includes parents perhaps who have never lived together. It can help for extended family members such as grandparents. It can help blended families, step parents, and where issues arise between families and social workers. So I've been involved in a number of cases that, for example, where an aunt, this is just giving you an idea, an aunt has had, for example, an SGO, special guardianship order, and having to work with Gran, who had a child arrangement order for the sibling, and where communication had completely broken down, and mediation was used to help rebuild communication and build trust with each other. It can be financial issues and facilitating financial disclosures to enable participants to make financial agreements, for example, after divorce, as well as arrangements for children. That can be, who the children will live with, what the arrangements are going to look like, the opportunity for that child or children to spend time with both parents, and getting into the real detail of that. It can help where issues that might be resolved by court, and also other issues that a court perhaps wouldn't resolve. Mediation can help. Thank you, Lucy.
Yes, so the key principles of family mediation. It's very important to note that mediation is voluntary. You may be aware that the court has really emphasised the importance of mediation in recent years, and is even doing so more often. And this is where the C100 form comes in. You have to evidence now that a parent has attempted to mediate before making an application to the family court. That being said, the process is voluntary. So if at any time somebody wants to stop mediation, they can. And this is something we emphasise so that there is a freedom to negotiate without a pressure. Mediation is also confidential. So if people mediate and then they're not able to reach agreements through mediation and they have to go to court, what is discussed in mediation cannot be disclosed. So again, that's so that people can brainstorm and discuss, but also go away and reflect on what the discussions entailed. So if it's not going to work in reality, they can then change their mind. There are exceptions to the confidentiality that mediation provides, however. If as a mediator we feel there's any threat of danger to anyone involved in the process, we have to report that. Also, if a matter is funded by the legal aid agency, they can also audit mediators. So there the confidentiality remains, but through that channel. And also with regards to any illegal activity, and that concerns the proceeds of crime, because we're dealing with people's finances, we explain to them we would have to flag up anything like that. But generally the process is confidential. The mediator is completely impartial, as I mentioned earlier, so we're not acting for either party, but we're acting for the family and for the best interests of the children in the process. And most importantly, it's the participants and not the mediator who determine the outcome. And of course, this is significantly different to if you go to court and have a judge make a decision. And this is where we really encourage mediation, encourage parents that they can keep the power, the control of making important decisions about their family within their own family, rather than entrusting that power to a judge. And this is very beneficial where at all possible. Thank you.
So what are the benefits of mediation? So first of all, it's less stressful than going to court, and it can be quicker, cheaper as well. And it allows couples to get involved and to as Lucy just said, really maintain control over the decisions that will impact on their lives, not only in the here and now, but for the future, rather than handing that over to a judge to decide. And I think most importantly, what mediation does offer, it can help preserve relationships. And we often see parents working together much more readily. It saves participants money. It's usually much cheaper than being represented in court. And whilst mediators are knowledgeable about the law, we do not provide legal advice. We cannot provide legal advice during the mediation process. However, what we can do is provide legal information and facilitate discussions, conversations, and help couples to kind of find their own solutions. Court can be intimidating and expensive, and obviously there are ongoing costs such as barristers' fees, solicitors' fees, and we know that costs could run into thousands. So making this a more economically viable for couples is much better. It helps, couples put their child's interests at first, and we certainly hold children at the centre of all the work that we do. They're the most important people and our priority. So getting them to kind of describe their children often keeps them focused on them, and we're really keen to do that. And also getting them to think about what their children need from both mum and dad. Mm-hmm. It helps participants keep more control of their family's future. Again, if they cannot reach a resolution in mediation, a judge will make decisions which they may not necessarily agree with, but at that point it's imposed by a judge making a court order. We're not there to make decisions or impose solutions. We guide and facilitate those discussions, ensuring everyone has a chance to speak. It helps participants move on quickly to the next stage of their life. As I said, it's much quicker to facilitate, and the starting point of that is a mediation assessment meeting, and we get those sessions arranged. And then they have, if it goes on then to mediation, there may be a few weeks in between sessions to allow that kind of reflection and trialing the arrangements. again, voice of the child, keeping children at the centre in mediation, even though they're not directly involved, and asking questions and being more curious about the children. And I know Lucy's going to talk in a minute about child inclusive mediation. But it's just making sure that the focus is on the children. So, asking how would that, how is your arrangement that you're discussing going to impact on little Johnny, for example? What would that look like? And we also need to make sure that any arrangements are realistic. Otherwise, as soon as they leave mediation, it's likely that it will all fall apart. So that's really important. Arrangements that work. So again, it's something that isn't imposed. They're fully in control of all the decisions and choices they make. Working together in mediation, working as a team, and we enable them to explore the issues that they bring, using problem solving skills, looking at options, and then agreeing something that works for them. And if children are involved, importantly works for children. Longer lasting outcomes and improved communication. So by using constructive and respectful communication, mediation can help family members resolve their current dispute, and also actually provide them with the tools to handle future conflicts more effectively. So it gives them something to use further on if there are bumps in the road. And then the wider educational, health and community benefits. As a mediator, we do signpost to resources and tools that they can go away and use, and particularly organisations that we're aware of that do provide support for separating couples or couples going through divorce, such as CAFCAS, Women's Aid, CAB. So that's an important part as well, and a benefit. Thank you.
So with regards to child inclusive mediation, I'm sure that many of you are aware that CAFCAS often will speak to children where family is involved in court process. This child inclusive mediation within the mediation process gives the opportunity for the child's voice to be heard. It's a different mediator to the mediator who is mediating with the adults. And this mediator will sit with the child, speak to the child, and try and get an understanding of what their thoughts are about possibly child arrangements or other matters. It's only suitable for children who are over the age of 10, and that's so that they're mature enough to be able to engage in this way. And it is emphasised that although the children can raise their views, it doesn't necessarily or automatically mean that their wishes are going to be honoured within the decision-making process, but it's an opportunity for them to be able to speak and to somebody who's impartial, because we've all been aware of children who find it very difficult to say to mum what they really feel, or difficult to say to dad for fear of upsetting or for fear of causing controversy. So it's an opportunity for them to have a chat with somebody who will listen. The child inclusive mediator is trained specifically to speak with the child, and they can also adopt different methods of communication. So there was one time that the child of a mediation family saw the child inclusive mediator, and they did some art therapy together, and she drew what she was thinking about her living situation going forward. And that was a really nice opportunity to see how child inclusive mediation can work well. And it can also be very helpful if one of the parents is not believing what the other parent is saying, that the child is saying. That can be very helpful. It's completely confidential, the child inclusive mediation. So it's not automatic that everything the child says is fed back into the adult mediation. The child has to consent for what is fed back, and that then gives them the confidence to share freely. And again, we emphasize that it's the parents, not the children, who make the decisions. And that's because obviously a child of 10 or around that age, it's a big responsibility to have to feel that they have to make decisions. It's more about their voice being heard. Okay. And any questions about child inclusive mediation you can ask at the end.
Thank you, Lucy. So is mediation suitable? So yes, it's suitable in many cases, but there may be extreme conflict, for example, or an imbalance of power between the couple, which the media can't redress. Where one or both parties feel coerced to attend, that may make it not suitable. Where mediation has already been fully attempted, that's another example. It also could be that someone's safety is at risk, for example, if there's been any domestic abuse or any child abuse. If they have any evidence of violence, of abuse, they can take their case straight to court without having to consider mediation, and may qualify for legal aid and to be legally represented. We'll talk more about that. So if a referral is made to a mediator, the mediator will meet with the potential participants separately and assess whether mediation is safe and suitable. And that meeting is Mediation Information Assessment Meeting, also shortened for MIAM. And that's an opportunity for the mediator to talk individually to each participant, to understand their situation, to gain further information to enable them to make a decision about whether or not they feel mediation is suitable, but also an opportunity to answer any questions that that individual may need to ask. And it will only proceed if the case is safe and suitable and both participants want to proceed. We can't mediate with just one person. Thank you.
And just to say on that point, we are able to offer shuttle mediation, which can make mediation more accessible for somebody or in a case where there's a lot of aggression or confrontation. And shuttle mediation is where the parties are in separate virtual or physical rooms, and the mediator goes between the rooms so that the people will never actually meet or discuss face-to-face or even virtually. Okay, so what about legal advice and other options? So in the mediation process, the mediators are not able to give legal advice. Sally mentioned this earlier, and that's because if we were to advise, we would be representing one person rather than the other. And the whole point of mediation is that the clients represent themselves. What we do often suggest is that they speak to solicitors before they come to mediation to find out what their legal rights are. And that's particularly relevant if there's anything contentious. We are able to give information in the mediation process, information on what the courts might say in response to options that are suggested. But if the people are uncertain, then we would always recommend that they speak to a solicitor, or alternatively the Citizens Advice Bureau for some advice. We do signpost to other sources of support like the Citizens Advice Bureau, and also we don't give counselling, so we will often, if we feel somebody may benefit from counselling, refer for counselling to the GP. And at the first meeting, which is the MIAM, the mediators, we will discuss different options for resolving disputes. So mediation obviously is one. There's solicitor negotiation, arbitration, or making a court application, or a combination of methods. And that's so that the participants have all the information they need to make an informed decision about what is best for their family and their particular situation. Also, where there are restraining orders or non-molestation orders in place, it is not always possible for mediation to go forward, even if the parties want it. And that may be through shuttle mediation, for example. Often the court orders will stipulate whether contact is able to be made through a third party, for example, a mediator or a solicitor. And if a non-molestation order isn't clear, as mediators, we'd always ask the clients to check that, because obviously it can be very sensitive. If somebody has a non-molestation order out to protect them, it can seem that that is being subverted if the mediator is contacting that person on behalf of the person who is restrained. So we're very careful about that as well. Thanks.
So when to refer to a mediator? So the answer to that is any time. So mediation can help at any stage of a relationship breakdown, although as a general rule, an earlier referral to a mediator can prevent things becoming more conflicting or entrenched. And I think from a social work perspective, it can be at any point in that referral. So it could be something at the, from early help. It could be when families are working under child in need or child protection or even, care proceedings. So, it really is at any time. And, don't be put off by the fact that two parents aren't speaking to each other or they're always arguing. One parent is saying the other will refuse. Or the dispute's long-standing, or they're worrying about affordability. Most mediators will, offer that consultation. So if you're unsure, having that conversation with a mediator, they'll be able to kind of point you in the right direction or identify what the next steps may be. So yes, really important. Just contact us.
Great. And the wonderful thing about mediation is that clients can get legal aid, which will then provide full funding for a family mediation process. Obviously, they have to be entitled to legal aid, and the mediator will carry out that calculation. But that is different to having to go to court, where now it is very difficult to get legal aid funding. And so it does encourage families to come to mediation. Even if somebody is not eligible for legal aid, if their partner is, there will be a knock-on financial benefit to them. And at the moment, the family mediation voucher scheme is in place. That's until March 2025. And the voucher is not means tested. It's available for all families who are talking about child matters in mediation. So it's not for financial matters, only for child matters, and it provides up to £500 off the cost of mediation, which is very helpful for people and encourages people to attempt the process. And it's like I said, it's going on until March 2025. This happened. The voucher comes into place after the MIAM. So in the event that somebody is not eligible for legal aid, they would need to pay for those first meetings. But that's the lowest cost of the process in any event. So at that point, we apply for the voucher, and then they would usually be looking to get some mediation time for free.
So we're nearly at the end now, but how to refer to a mediator. So we are aware that anyone can call themselves a family mediator, even if they haven't had, the relevant training. So what we would urge you to do really is, in order to choose a mediator that has had the appropriate training and has got the appropriate qualification, is for you to go on to the www.familymediationcouncil.org.uk, and there's a box there that you would put in find a local mediator. You put in your postcode and it will bring up a list of fully trained, appropriately trained and qualified mediators for you to access. So that's something that you can use to source a mediator.
Great. So look, we're happy to answer any questions about mediation you may have. If there's anything in specifically any specific cases you wanted to talk to myself or Sally about, you can see there on the PowerPoint presentation our phone numbers and emails. So please feel free to get in touch. But other than that, I don't know if you'd like to take the opportunity to ask any questions. Helen, if you're able to let us know if there's any questions. Oh, not sure if she's...
Sorry, I've just unmuted
I can't
myself
see any
there.
in the chat, but has anybody got any burning questions that they would like to ask, or anything else?
You're right, we don't have any questions in the chat at the moment. can't see any hands going up either.
Someone's just asked if we can show the contact details again. And with the contact details, a lot of mediators now are 100% remote. So if you did have some clients who wanted mediation, feel free to contact for referrals as well. Both myself and Sally would be able to help you with that.
I'm just going to put your contact details, Lucy and Sally, into the
sorry,
chat for
Helen, I've
everybody.
just done it.
Oh, okay.
I was on it.
You want it, okay. We will send everybody an email after this session as well with some of the contact details on, and also I'm going to send you a video which is called Tom's Story, which demonstrates the power of child inclusive mediation, and that will have some information on, so you can direct you to other resources that we have available. Okay. So I think we finished a little bit earlier than we've anticipated today. I don't see any hands going up, so we won't keep you for any longer than we need to. Thank you very much for coming. And thank you, Sally, thank you, Lucy, for presenting. I'm going to end the webinar now and give you back a few minutes of your time at the end of the day. Do please get in contact if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.